In this lesson, you'll learn how to complete a grid drawing. First thing you need to do is decide what you're going to draw. It can be a photo or another drawing. Once you've selected it, you're going to want to draw a grid over it. Your grid needs to be an evenly squared grid. This grid is 7 squares by 9 squares, which you will draw 7 squares by 9 squares on your paper, usually marked in inches. That's the easiest to measure. And you'll go through square by square drawing the image. Do not draw the entire image. Draw it square by square as you see in the example. You obviously can't draw it this fast. I want to show it to you slower. So square by square, you're going to fill in and pay attention to details of each square. As you draw those squares, you're going to make sure that your lines match up to the square previous to it. Note that your lines are going to be soft at times, hard at times, dark and light, scribbly, sometimes a little bit smeared. Make sure your lines line up from square to square. As you go, you will be revealing the finished drawing. You can always go back after it's finished to add in more detail, but try to put in all the details from each square as you draw. In the more detailed squares, pay attention to the darks and lights, the values, and the different types of lines. Be sure you note where the lines cross over into the other squares, making sure they line up as you go. Keep proceeding and just kind of skip over the blank squares, but make sure that you leave them blank on your paper. Your drawing will begin to look more finished. Don't worry about the squares that you haven't drawn yet until you get to them. Take time, pay attention, look at value, look at texture, and look at lines while you're drawing. If you want to use another sheet of paper to conceal the other squares as you draw, that's a great way to not be distracted by what's going on in the other squares. If you complete the drawing this way, you should have a duplicate of the original drawing or photograph that you selected.